So I think we've all seen this one, Stuart, where someone in group is making the same commitment to change week after week. It seems like they're stuck in a rut. And so if someone seems to be stuck in a rut with their commitment to change, what can they do? What can they do to really grow and use it better?
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime I hear the word rut, I think of like a wagon wheel, of just how a wagon wheel, it loves the rut. It takes tremendous effort to get a wagon wheel out of the rut, and when the wagon is going in the direction that it needs to go, that serves a great purpose. It's just our commitment to changes are oftentimes trying to get the wagon wheel out of the rut, and so I sit with you in the fact that this is hard work, and so, but I think about that. Things that I needed to do were be curious and not critical of myself. And so if I found myself to where I was putting something on my plate, and I'll just be really self-focused here instead of like what I've seen in groups, if I was doing one that just wasn't gaining traction, I wanted to ask myself questions like, what's the pattern in place? What's the fear or the belief behind what I'm doing? Like maybe the fear is I'm doing a less than commitment to change because I'm truly scared of actually following through with my commitment to change. I think curiosity opens the door and shame closes the door. And so if we can have those moments just to be curious with ourselves, another one would be invite others in. And I say that like your leaders, your group members, a counselor, a mentor, your spouse, God, like invite God into these commitment to changes and then ask questions. Rich, I thought you just did a great job there, like to bring that to your wife and then say, what are the blind spots that I'm not noticing here? And so when we invite, like, and I'm not saying just pick anybody, I'm like, who are these safe people in our lives that I heard it said the other day, like, don't take critique from somebody you wouldn't take wisdom from. And so who are the people that you seek the wisdom and the critique from? And invite those people into your commitment to changes. And lastly, why instead of what? Why is the pattern continuing? And if we can look at why the pattern continues as to what the pattern is, it invites us again all back to curiosity about why do we remain in the rut.
Yeah, I think I love the rut analogy and just the wagon wheel, like you were talking about, Stuart. I think what it comes down to for me to personalize it is living in sin in my life that was comfortable. So that's the rut for years and years and years. Well, we have to get to the point where we're okay to be uncomfortable, and when we're uncomfortable, that means we're digging out of the rut. We're making some changes. Otherwise, that rut's going to continue to get deeper and deeper and deeper until that wheel's not going to turn anymore. Then you're just broken.
Yeah.
And I remember so many times just the uncomfortableness of getting out of everything I'd done in my life was the most painful thing. But then when you're out of it, out of the rut, things just start moving like a well-oiled machine. And you just, but then when you get to that point, you got to keep maintaining it. So the commitment to change and that maintenance process of keeping it smooth and so you don't get back in the rut. So yeah. I think learning to be uncomfortable to get out of it was really key for me.
What I've seen, and this maybe goes back a little bit to like mistakes people make, is they can get stuck when their commitment to change is not entirely up to them. So sometimes a commitment to change that involves our spouse or maybe a workplace situation, we have to, as a leader, help someone realize like, hey, that's a great goal that you're setting or your plan this week. But do you realize that you can only accomplish it if, so-and-so does their part, which then makes it not a great commitment because your commitment to change needs to be something that you can do. And if your spouse, maybe your commitment to change is, I want to sit down every night and have a spiritual conversation and prayer time with my wife. But if your wife is not on board for that, you're going to feel defeated because night one, it's not going to happen. Now, maybe the commitment to change is something like, I'm going to ask my wife if we could sit down and have a time to pray together, because you have entirely control over that decision. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then also, I feel like there are times we're not thinking about our recovery holistically. We've maybe gotten just stuck in one area of like, it's always a spiritual commitment to change, or it's always relational because our marriage is really in a rough spot. So that's all we ever think about is what should I do for my wife? And those can be really good things, but we're a holistic being that mind, body, soul, all of it fits together. And I really like the illustration of a barrel, that if you think about the different aspects of your life, like the slats on a barrel going up on the side, you've got spiritual and relational and emotional and physical and your mental well-being. And all of that is part of, moving forward. And if 4 out of the 5 are great, but let's say physically your slat is only 2 inches high because you're not sleeping very well, then in truth, you only have a 2-inch barrel. Your barrel is only as high as the lowest slat, because as soon as water hits that level, it will run out. And so your life is kind of that way, that if you can analyze, where might my low point be? Where is the area that is getting neglected because maybe I haven't seen it as important, or I haven't paid attention to it? And it often is things like maybe the physical or the mental, the emotional, where we haven't thought of it maybe as important as relationships or our spiritual connection with God. And so those other things at times can get neglected and we get stuck, because it's actually those other areas that really need attention. So I think just looking holistically and asking that question, what's my lowest slat? What's the low point that at that level, the water starts to leak out, or to put it this way, the life in me starts to leak out because there's not much health there. And if we can address that, I think we really start to get some momentum.